Hey y'all, and welcome to Monner's Market, and welcome to the Bloom with Grace Challenge. I cannot believe that it's already time for our Bloom with Grace Challenge again. It seems like I just done this like 2 weeks ago, but then again, I have actually been missing for 2 weeks, and just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers who have reached out to me and questioned where I've been and if I'm okay for the past 2 weeks. I never in a million years dreamed that you guys would even miss me, much less feel the need to reach out and check on me. So you have touched my heart more than I could ever in a million years express, and I just want to say thank you. Now, my co-host for today is Brenda. I'm Brenda, she's Brenda, with Rustic and Lace DIY. She's extremely talented, and I am so honored to have her as my co-host for today. There will be a playlist listed below, so make sure you go follow the link to that playlist and see what everybody's created for you. Today we are doing hollyberry, so let's get into our video. Okay, so for DIY number one, I have this gorgeous sign, y'all. I cannot even believe I made this sign. It is huge. It's 22 inches by 22 inches. Now, I'm using this chalkboard that I got from the Home Depot. On one side, it's chalkboard. On the other side, it's a dry erase board. And I'm using this beautiful 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly transfer from Chalk Couture. I am so obsessed with Chalk Couture right now. They have the most beautiful designs, and it is so stinking easy to use. So I'm taking this 1x2 that you can get from Home Depot. It's only like $1.58 for 8 feet. Super duper inexpensive. And I'm just measuring my board down. I also had them cut this chalkboard for me at Home Depot. They do that for free. They could have cut these sticks down for me too, but I have this nice little machine here that you can see. I forgot to put my little thing at the back of it to collect all of my dust. So I was shooting it all over the camera and everywhere. But anyway, that's a present that my husband bought for me. So I like to use it. But anyway, so I'm cutting down my frame to get ready to stain my wood. And I noticed that like I was just a little bit off on my wood. So I had to go back and cut just a little tinky piece off of, well, what I did was just change my mind about the way I wanted to lay it out. So I got it like I wanted it, and then I was ready to stain it. And I went in with this beautiful Jacobian by Minwax stain, and it has become one of my absolute favorites. It's so beautiful, and this wood takes it just perfectly. Like, it's such a smooth piece of wood. It's a better grade wood, but it still takes that stain perfectly. Now I'm going to my transfer. And I'm going to use white, bark, pesto, and candy apple. Those are the colors that I'm going to use to paint my transfer. I also have this shimmer gold. I did use the shimmer gold, but I did not end up using that dark green meadow. So now this is a huge picture, so it ended up needing 2 fuzzing cloths. Most people don't have 2 fuzzing cloths, but I ordered an extra one just in case anything ever happened to mine. You can also use a regular towel, so you don't have to even invest in a terry cloth. However, if you are interested in becoming a designer, that comes in your kit automatically. Also, if you're interested in becoming a designer under me, I would be so stinking honored for you to do that. My team is growing like crazy. There are 5 of us and soon to be 7. And I would absolutely love for you to join my team if you're interested, or if you would just like to order products. There is a link listed below for both things. If you want to just buy something, there's a link for shopping. Then there's also a link to become a designer. And for $99, you get this amazing stinking kit where you get like 7 transfers, a ton of different colors of paste, a surface, which is what they call their backgrounds that you chalk on. It's just a bunch of stuff, like a gorgeous apron that's embroidered. There's just a lot of stuff. Anyway, you can find out more in the links below. So I'm taking the colors that I picked out and I am just chalking all over this gorgeous sign. And I'm also, whenever I get to the part where I'm using the bark color, I'm going to do a few pieces in bark, and then you'll see me take, well, you might not see me because I'm going kind of fast here. You'll see me just kind of rub it at the edges of some of the green, and that's just to sort of blend it in and give it a little bit more depth and dimension, as we say. And once I did that, I was ready to peel this beauty off, and I'm going to slow it down for you because this is so stinking satisfying. Look, guys. How beautiful is that? I mean, really, it literally took me maybe 10 minutes to do, and that's because I was doing things in between. But look at this beauty. Look at that. You can see the edges of some of them where you see that little bit of brown. Not right there, but you can see a little bit of the brown right there, just above the A, sort of mixing and blending in with the green, and it just looks like it's starting to turn colors, and that's not something that we get to see here in Florida. We go from green to black or brown. So now I'm ready to assemble my frame. I get it laid out where I want it, and then I take some wood hot glue. Now, it has to be wood hot glue. Well, it don't have to be, but it sure holds up a whole lot stronger. I learned that from She's So Crafty the hard way, making her bench recently. And that's, I think that was maybe the last, no, not the last video, but one of the last videos that I posted. And I have fallen in love with this wood hot glue. It is so much stronger than regular regular hot glue, and works like a dream on wood. So I glue my piece together, and then I get it ready to staple to my picture. Now I'm using an industrial stapler that you can get. I have all Ryobi tools. I'm obsessed with them, and this is how it turned out when I was done. Can it be any more beautiful? I mean, I'm just going to hush and just let you take it in, because I tend to run my mouth and not just hush. I will tell you that the screens, the transfers that they make are silk screen, and it's already made with that sort of rustic, oh God, what is the name that I'm looking for? Where it looks like it didn't color in everything all the way, and it's sort of rustic and scratched off. That's intentional. That's made in the screen like that. I cannot wait to read the comments below for you to tell me what you think about how this turned out. So be sure to do that in the comments below. Now let's get into DIY number 2. This is the cutest little sign, and it was so super easy to make. I got this. It's actually an arrow sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. I just tore the little twine hanger off the side, and I tried to get the little pieces to it off, but they wouldn't come off, so I just pushed them down. That little sign was $1, the tag sign. That came from the Dollar General. And I just removed the little string at the top and used the back of it to place on my piece of galvanized. Now that is Moss Waverly chalk paint, one of my absolute favorite colors of green that Waverly has. I painted my little tag sign, and once it dried, or I set it aside to dry, I got this gorgeous little Let It Snow. I think it's an ornament's what it actually is meant to be. And I painted it with my antique wax, and it brings out the wood in these little wood pieces so beautifully. Once I got it painted with the antique wax, I go in with a baby wipe and just wipe off the excess, and look at that. I mean, it is just absolutely perfect. Then I went in with my white Waverly chalk paint and just painted up the little snowflake right there. And that's all there was to you know, painting and getting ready that little ornament. So I glue my little tag down, I glue my little Let It Snow thing down, and then I just add my holly berries, because that's what this whole theme is about. Oh, I didn't even mention it on my DIY number 1, but I chose that particular silk screen because, or transfer as they call it, it had the holly all over it, and it was just perfect for this video. This month's video, like I said, is hollyberries, and it was the co-host choice of what we did. So Brenda at Rustic and Lace picked out hollyberries, and I'm so glad she did, because they are the most perfect addition to any Christmas theme, in my opinion. I love them. I love them better than what are the red flowers called? Oh my goodness. What are they called? That's right, poinsettias. They're called poinsettias. I love hollyberries over poinsettias. But anyway, I made myself a little finger bow, and I made it with twine, got it tied together, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out that I want it to go under the hollyberries, on top of it, above it. And finally I was like, it's not that I'm not happy with. I don't like the placement of the hollyberries. So I ended up tearing the hollyberries off, which is why I only use a little drop of glue, putting my little thing there. I kept trying to use that little white one, cut that little white piece of greenery, because I loved it, but I just couldn't make it work. But anyway, I ended up just putting the hollyberries down to the bottom left, and then I added that same string that came off of it, or twine, and used it for my hanger. And excuse me, then I took some white Waverly chalk paint and just softened up the hollyberries. It was pretty stark, dark colors, and I just wanted to lighten it up a little bit, and that's all there was to it. It gave it sort of like a snowed on, snowy kind of look, and I love this little galvanized piece. Like I said, it was an arrow, and I turned it into like a little house just by flipping it sideways. So let me know down in the comments what you think about my DIY number 2. I love that little Let It Snow sign. I did go back and clean up all of that, like, hair from the stuff right there. But anyway, let's get into DIY number 3. Squirrel. So DIY number 3 is this cute little, now this little black thing right here comes in your kit if you become a designer. There's actually 12 of those. And they're just these little discs that you can chalk on. That is called a mini. And you get like 12 designs on one sheet. And it's the Christmas minis. So I go in and I use the same colors that I used on my first sign so that it would all match up, and it says warm wishes. And watch, bam, perfect every time. It's so hard to mess them up. Then I take my skewers that I get from the Dollar Tree. I have a couple of ways of painting these beads. Sometimes I put them on the skewer. Sometimes I just throw them in a cup. I really like the skewer method better, because to me it just gives it a cleaner finish. I can control what I'm doing with the brush. When I drop it down in the cup, sometimes it gets a little bit thick, and then I have to go back and use a brush to thin it out anyway. So this time I used 6 of each color of the 20 millimeter, and then I used several of these little, I don't even know what millimeter that is, but it's about half the size of the 20 millimeter. And I used my antique wax on that to bring out just the plain wood look. And oh my heavens, it is beautiful at the way that this antique wax brings the wood out and stuff. I think it's just absolutely stunning. Then I go in with my crimson paint, Crimson Waverly chalk paint. Now, I love painting these beads on this skewer because you have so much control. It's easy to just like slide it down to the end, but make sure that you get in between each one of those beads and you get the top of the bead where the hole is and the bottom of the bead where the hole is covered. Now I'm going in with my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm painting a row of those. Again, making sure to get in between all of the cracks, which is so easy to do with the skewers. And then I'm using my Fern Waverly chalk paint for the green part. I wish I would have thought to use some of my chalk paste and use the same color green. That would have been absolutely perfect, but I never even thought about it until literally after the fact. But once I did that and they all dried, I actually took my crocodile tool and put a little hole in the little disc right there that says warm dishes. I don't even have any dishes to go wash, y'all. Warm wishes. I threaded my beaded garland. I made my little tassel for the end and put it together, and that's all there was to it. Now, I rushed through that because I make so many beaded garlands, and I'm sure y'all are just sick of seeing me make these, but I'm obsessed with them. They are all over my house. They're the perfect little touch to anything, but look how cute that turned out. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this DIY. Now, let's get on in to DIY. Which one is it? Number 4. After I let you finish seeing how cute is that Chalk Couture, guys. All right, here we go. DIY number 4 is this adorable little house sign. Now, this little house came from the Dollar Tree, and I didn't want the back of it to just be plain, so I just painted it in the crimson Waverly chalk paint just to cover the back. And then I took this piece of scrapbook paper that I get from Hobby Lobby. I only get it when it's for $4, which is every 2 weeks they run a special. So every 2 weeks I will go in and just grab me 3 or 4 pieces of whatever. So I lay my house down, trim it out, or like trace it out, cut it off, and then I glue it on with some Mod Podge. And then I like to take just a little bit of water on my paintbrush and kind of go around the edges, and it softens it up a little bit so that when I take my hand sander and sand it, I get a really super smooth edge. Now, this is another set of these little ornaments, and this one says Believe, and it has a cute, adorable little Santa hat on it. I'm going to use my same antique wax because I am so... Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'm so loving the way it brings the wood out. Then I take my crimson and I paint the little part of the Santa hat. And then once I get that little part painted, y'all know I'm always going to get tongue-tied. Then I go in and I paint the white parts with my white Waverly chalk paint to finish up this adorable little, what are they called? I just said it 3 times. Ornament. So anywho, I get the little ornament painted, add the white, and it just pops up against that antique wax. And look how beautiful it makes the wood in that little thing look. So I just glue it down to my little house, and then it's time for the hollyberries, which is the star of the show today. So I take some greenery off of a pick that I got from the Dollar Tree, put it down, add a little tiny pine cone to the top of it, and then I add my little hollyberries to the side of it. And that is literally, oh no, wait, I do go back in with my white Waverly chalk paint, and I just sort of, I don't know, I just love what it does to this. It gives it like a snowy effect, and it just makes the little pieces just pop, in my opinion. I don't know, I love it. But that's literally all there was to this. This took me maybe 5 minutes to make. And it's perfect for a little tier tray. And how adorable is it for a stinking, maybe $1.50 in the whole thing? Look how cute. I'm so obsessed with these little ornaments that they're coming out with, the wooden ones. They are so beautiful. And I love the font. How adorable. Now let's get into DIY number 5, my last and final hollyberry DIY. Make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this little house, though, below. Now, for DIY number 5, I'm just doing this little book stack thing with the crate. I've done these so many times before, but I found this little set of napkins at the not Family Dollar, but Dollar General for $1. And I love the red trucks. I am one of those who are obsessed with the red trucks for Christmas. So I'll paint this little crate with the white Waverly chalk paint. And once it dries, then I pull out my napkin, and it has the most adorable little campers on all of the other 3 corners. It's so stinking cute. I can do so much with those little campers. But all I'm focused on right now is the front, the main piece of this napkin. So I tear off its 2-ply, I tear off the back ply, I apply Mod Podge to my little crate, and then I just smooth it down, and it can't get any easier, y'all. I mean, it just can't. Now, where the lines are in that, I just take my little X-Acto knife and I just cut through that so that you can see it, and it gives that, more of that little book stack feel. I take these little berries, it's called a berry garland that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and then I take some other little greenery that looks like it has little holly berries that aren't quite, they haven't quite turned red yet. But then I decided against it and used some other greenery. I went with the same little theme of the little pine cone there, frosted it up, added my holly berries. Then I go back and frost it up. And then just for one more little touch, I take a piece of twine and I'm going to go around the box, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times, and add to it. Look, y'all, it just totally ups the look and the feel when you add the white to that, in my opinion. You could barely see the pine cone. Now it just like pops out in your face. Anyway, so I take my twine and I wrap it around it a couple of times. And once I get it like I want it, and I'm sorry I'm out of frame a little bit, then I go back to the bottom and I just cut right there in the middle, and then I just glue it down to the edge. It was just easier to do it that way. It's kind of the lazy way. But once I did that, I was all done. Nope, I lied. I did add a little bit of that garland with the little berries to the top of that, but that was it. Another 5 minutes, super duper easy project, something really user-friendly for anybody who is just starting out crafting. Very, very inexpensive. I use the same pick on everything that I embellished. So I have $1 in the whole video as far as the picks go, and then $1 for the crate, and then $1 for the napkins, but I only used one of the napkins. So now I'm going to hush and let you look at the final reveal, but I'll be back in just a moment. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for watching. I have absolutely no idea how to make that music stop now. I hope you can hear me over it. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Brenda with Rustic and Lace DIY, for being my co-host today. Be sure to go watch the playlist. I have another video coming out tomorrow and a couple of more behind it. Thank you so much for supporting me. God bless you. Bye now.